So Corey, there's a question from a viewer that says, any advice on how I can handle big changes or opportunities in my life? Me personally, I feel like that also relates to me. Like I also wonder the same thing, considering I'm almost going to turn 25 soon.
Oh my God,
So I
you're
would
so
like,
old.
yeah, so I would like to know as well, like what are your thoughts on it, and also Mike as well.
Well, life is a series of new beginning endings and new beginnings. When one door closes, another one opens. And I think it was Kissinger said that each time like you solve a problem, it just buys a ticket to a more complicated, bigger problem. And so the more you take on in life, if you think, I mean, at one point in your life, you couldn't even walk, you couldn't feed yourself. When it was time to go to the bathroom, you just crapped your pants. And I mean, at the end of the day, you went to school, you learned all that stuff. So our fear of something or our perception of how bad or how scary it's going to be is usually way worse than actually experiencing it. And one of my favorite quotes from Dale Carnegie is, inaction breeds fear and doubt, but taking action breeds confidence and courage. And so the best thing, like when, because I get these questions a lot, when guys are like, what do I do when I'm overwhelmed? It's you have to lose yourself in taking action and not just being busy. You want to be productive. And so you want to focus, and before you go to bed each night, you should ask yourself, what are, like, you got things in your to-do list. You should order the things on your to-do list in order and how they're related to your goals. So if your number one goal is to say be healthy and eat healthy, and you know you got to work out, you got to go to Whole Foods and shop, maybe you're going to buy smoothie supplies or green juice supplies or whatever happens to be, and you got 10 other things on your list. So if your number one priority is taking care of your body, then when it comes to decide what action should I take first, well, you're going to take action on focusing on the things that are on your to-do list that relate to being healthy. Because if you don't have your health, you get colds, you get sick, it wears you down, you have less energy, you're less productive, you're in bed instead of out enjoying your life. And so you want to do things in order, so your number two goal might be to grow my business into a multi-million-dollar business. And so then you're going to put a number two next to everything on your to-do list that relates to goal number two. And then you're just going to focus on working on all the things that have a number two next to it on the list. And so you go down your to-do list, and you do that every day in and day out, week after week, month after month, year after year. And so what happens is every day you prioritize your to-do list and the action you take based upon the priority of and importance of those things to you, your personal goals. And so that way it ensures that you're always productive, that you put your head down and you get things done. Because when people get overwhelmed or they freak out, what do? They tend to ponder and go, oh my God. They call their friends, oh, this is so horrible. I can't believe this is happening to me. I can't deal with this. What do I do? I don't know. Focus on, what do I have to get done tonight before I go to sleep? And then do that and focus on that. And when you lose yourself in doing things, taking action to be productive, time passes, and then you get the most important things done day in and day out, week after week, month after month, year after year. And as the months go by, your goals and things you set, you can tell your life is moving in that direction versus somebody that they're busy all the time organizing their sock drawer, or making sure their car gets washed, or just doing menial things that keep them busy but aren't really moving them closer to their goals. And so when you have big changes, things that are overwhelming, it's just what has to get done today before I go to bed. And just focus on doing that. And when you lose yourself in the process of crossing things off your to-do list or taking action on the things that you want, time zips by. And then when you go to bed at night, you got peace of mind. You feel relaxed. You feel kind of ease and delight because you were productive all day. You feel like, man, I accomplished something today. I got something done. Versus sitting around worrying about things that may or may not happen. Because it's like our fear of something is always way worse than experiencing it. Like going up to some dude and wondering why he didn't ask you out,
Yeah.
and shooting your shot with them.
Mm-hmm. And then, but what do you do when you hit a funk, though? I've had situations where like I would be on like a to-do list, right? And I would check them all out, and at the end of the night I'd feel really good. Like you said, like I'll wake up the next day like, oh my gosh, I'm ready to do this again, day 2. Then it hits like day 4 and I feel kind of worn out because I'm like, I've done so much that I don't really have more, to do. Or if I ever miss something on the list, I feel so like bummed out that I don't even want to continue doing it.
Just like in a way you're overwhelmed, but at the same time that's like a huge setback. Because
Yeah.
I think that's like one of the biggest setbacks when it comes to trying to get something done is being overwhelmed and having no motivation.
Well, here's the thing that's understanding about our psychology and our thoughts is and this goes back to like Aristotle thousands of years ago. He observed that people do more to avoid pain than they do to gain pleasure. And so when you're worried about something bad happening, there's more emotional energy behind the negative emotions. And so you're going to try to avoid what seems painful or uncomfortable. Or if you get worried, oh, it's not going to work out for me, and then you take no action, what you fear, you attract. You literally do things that make what you fear happen.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you think in terms of flipping the script, instead of going, wow, it'd be nice just to sit home and be lazy. I know I got all these things to do, but I think I'm going to just sit in front of the TV and watch cartoons or movies and eat chocolate and play with my cat. That feels good. There's a positive emotions behind it because it feels negative and unpleasant to do your homework or to work on your math. And what if you can't figure it out?
Mm-hmm.
What if you get stuck? Then that's a painful thought. So you'll gravitate towards what feels pleasurable.
For the moment.
But you got to catch yourself and you got to go, okay, well, my goals are to graduate or to grow my business or my income or whatever it happens to be.
Mm-hmm.
And so because those are my outcomes that are most important, what is the pain that I'm going to experience if I don't do what I know I need to do right now? What am I going to miss out on 6 months from now, a year from now, 2 years, 3 years from now, if I don't do what I know I need to do right now, which maybe it's going to the gym, or maybe it's working on your homework, or maybe returning some phone calls, or job prospecting, or whatever it happens to be. And so you think in terms of, I'm going to experience real pain if I don't, even though I don't feel like doing anything right now, I'd rather sit and eat chocolate and watch TV, which feels nice, but what pain, what's this going to cost me a year down the road? What happens if I'm lazy the whole semester and I have to drop a couple classes because I'm in danger of failing them, and so I'd want to drop them before, the drop date before it goes on your record. So you have to think in terms of, and then you also think, what's the pleasure? Okay, even though I don't feel like doing it right now, going to the gym or studying, what's the pleasure I'm going to gain down the road if I do take this action, even though I don't feel like it? Well, I'll graduate. I'll feel a sense of accomplishment. I'll have the degree that I want. I'll have the job that I want. I'll go ask that person out and shoot my shot, whatever it happens to be. And at least this way you went for it, And so you think in terms of, because again, people do more to avoid pain than they do to gain pleasure. When I was in college, what I would do is, because I was worried I wasn't smart enough to pass calculus, because one of the ways my mother tried to motivate me is, oh, you're stupid, you're not going to amount to anything, and you're going to be just like your aunt so-and-so. And she would say things like that to motivate me in a negative way, but what it did is it made me doubt myself. And so when it came time to study, whether it's doing physics or calculus or statics or some of the other hard courses I had in my engineering degree, I was like, oh, wow, Seinfeld's on, or I'm going to watch Friends, or I'm going to go hang out with the guys and have a few beers, and I'll just stay home all weekend, and I'll blow off studying tonight because I want to go out and have fun. And then the weekend comes, and oh God, I got this mountain of homework. It's going to take me all weekend. All my friends are calling me, wanting to go out and party, chase girls. I was like, oh, okay, I'll do it next weekend. I got all next weekend off. I'll definitely study then. And then you put it off because I was focused on the pleasure, but the pain I was moving away from was like, maybe my mom was right. Maybe I am too stupid to get a degree or to amount to anything in life. And so my fear of the unknown, fear of really applying myself like in calculus, would cause me to avoid doing the homework. And then when it would get to the point where it was like overwhelming, like I got a test in 3 days and I better study or I'm going to fail it. And then trying to sit down and cram and then not being able to do it, and then you get frustrated. then you're like, fuck, okay, well, I can drop this to, this test. So the next one, I'll definitely study for that. And then and then you get 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks, 6 weeks in the semester, and you're so far behind. There's no way you're going to catch up. And so you got to think in terms of when you want to be lazy, whether it's working out or calling somebody that is important in your relationships, and you need to make an effort. You got to water your garden, so to speak. You got to think, well, if I don't call somebody that I love and care about and stay in touch, what happens? Well, the relationship starts to die. Or tell somebody that I love, that I care about them, or whatever it happens to be. There's consequences to everything. There's consequences to being lazy, and there's obviously good consequences to taking action. And so deciding to be lazy, deciding to get overwhelmed, you're going to experience even more pain down the road if you give in to being lazy. And so you flip the script on yourself. It feels good to be lazy. It feels good to eat chocolate, but I'm going to experience pain down the road. And so when you think in terms of that, what's the pain I'm going to experience and what's the pleasure I'm going to experience, then you're able to move forward and take action and get what's called emotional leverage upon yourself.
It's funny because when you talk about the pain of the experience, a lot of times the pain is actually the most pleasurable. And I do think of the example that you gave where you confronted that guy and asked, hey, how come you're not hitting on me?
Mm-hmm.
It was probably really uncomfortable, but you probably had this sensation of power, like, yeah, I just did that, and that was very pleasurable, even though going into it, it may not have felt right. It's like, wow, a lot of times the things that are most uncomfortable are actually the most pleasurable. And for me, the uncomfortable is my comfort zone. That's what that's what kind of gets me excited. I like being in those places that are uncomfortable and I don't know what to expect. It's the most exciting. It's the most rewarding thing, for me from a emotional,
Well,
receiving.
variety is one of our 6 human needs. We got to have variety.
Yeah. When you're talking about the prioritizing things, because we're taking on something new and it's so big and we've got this mountainous list. There's actually a couple approaches. One would be, what's the most important thing on that list? But another approach might be, okay, how do I make this list smaller? Kind of like the snowball approach, which would be, pay off some of those easy small things first so we get that list manageable. And so a lot of times,
the idea is to do it in order of its importance to your goals. So if you've got like 10 life goals that are important, when you work on them in order, your to-do list items relating to the goals, what happens is it forces you to prioritize your life and what's most important. So as the months and the years go by, you see yourself becoming more successful. You can see your life moving in that direction. And success to all of us is making progress. We got to feel like we're making progress. And so by focusing on your goals and your to-do list relating to the priority in your life, the goals that are most important to you, you'll spend the most time, the most energy, and the most effort, and therefore you'll make the most progress. And part of being happy is feeling like you're making progress towards the things you want. You feel like you're progressing to make your life more, your personal and your professional life, more and more the way you want it to be.
Yeah. Now, could this question have possibly also meant something else, such as how can I handle a big change, such as, maybe it's a job change to where you have to, give up everything you have, move across the country, or maybe it's a divorce or something that's,
maybe they're scared of it, but it's, because we tend to ask ourselves very disempowering questions. The quality of your life is in direct proportion to the quality of the questions that you consistently ask yourself. And if you tend to, when something big comes along or a big opportunity, you tend to freak out and go, oh, what could go wrong? Catch yourself and go, what is great about this?
And especially,
what could I be excited about?
Especially the ones that are like stuff you didn't, like things that kind of presented itself, like it was like a last minute kind of thing, if that makes any sense. Like I know people who have had opportunities come their way and they've had to like practically move wherever from the state or the hometown they're in to move to another state, like super like short notice. Like they would have to move like 2 days from now. I've met people that have had that situation. So what about in terms of that, like stuff that just presents itself? Because Me personally, when it comes to big opportunities like that just come right in front of me, right in front of my face, I do get anxious, and I feel like a lot of people also have that as well. I guess it's just being scared of the uncertainty. So what about in terms of that?
In life, in order to get what you want, you got to know what you want, and then you got to know why you want it. You got to have an emotionally compelling reason why you want it, and then number 3, you got to have some kind of plan or a strategy to make that happen and to execute on it. And so if you get a big opportunity that means moving across the country, how is that going to help you achieve your major life goals that you've set for yourself? And you got to ask yourself that question. If a big part of if you're somebody that loves being on, around, and near the water, like when I do phone sessions with people and they're needing help with figuring out their purpose, stuff that's in mastering yourself, is that I'll ask them, it's like, what do you love in life? What do you, I mean, you guys remember I did that with you. You're discovering your purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you have things that you really love and enjoy, and you have those written down, then if you love being on, around, and near water, that you're a water baby, then you get a job opportunity that's in the mountains in Colorado, and it's cold up there, there's snow up there. You might like to ski, but you love being on, around, and near water. And so therefore, if you're considering moving there because, I'm going to make a lot of money, which making a lot of money is nice, but what if one of your most important things you love more than anything is being on, around, or near water, and the kind of stuff you love doing, you're not excited about going and living in the mountains where it's cold and there's lots of snow and lots of ice and not lots of lakes and water and oceans. Maybe you like to surf or whatever. Things that you're just not going to be able to do there. So when you look at it that way, you can go, hey, it's a great opportunity. Thank you for the opportunity. If you got anything that's in Florida or California or somewhere near where the things you like to do, then those opportunities you would consider. So that's why it's important. Again, you got to know what you want, and then you got to know why you want it. Because without emotionally compelling reasons why you want something, it's too easy to just go, I'm going to blow off this class.
Fear can be your friend, or it can be a hindrance.
Yep.
And it's, there's wisdom in the counsel of many. An old proverb that makes so much sense. And one of the things I've always loved to do when I'm not sure, should I move forward with this? Is this fear my friend, or is it going to hinder me from getting where I want? I ask people that make good decisions in life, and I see what they have to say about it. The funny thing is sometimes you'll agree with them, and sometimes you'll disagree with them. They're telling you things that you don't want to hear. That might mean that that they're giving you bad advice. I've listened to that, and it's like, okay, you're saying this, and now that I've bounced it off enough people and I've heard this, I actually feel better with this advice than with that advice. And it helps you know what the right way to go is. And then when you know the right way to go, get the fear out of the way and do it, and enjoy it. Enjoy the ride. But there's wisdom in the counsel of many.
Listen to many voices, but speak with your own.